Welcome to the I Am Great podcast. I'm your host, Eugene Walker, man, and we got a very special guest, my boy DJ, man. He out here killing the real estate game, man, putting everybody on game. So, welcome to the podcast, bro.
What's going on, man? What's going on, my guy?
Man, so just tell the people about yourself, man. Tell them who you are, what you accomplishing today.
So my name is Dejon Clark. People call me DJ from Topeka. I'm in the real estate field. I love real estate, so I'm in the real estate field. I've been in it for about 6 years now. Now I'm working with different people and, mentoring different people around here, showing them different skills. It's kind of one of the things that they don't do that in Topeka. It's one of those things that we don't really learn at a young age. So that's kind of one of the things I'm doing now, and just in the real estate field, man. Here messing with my boy Eugene. I am great.
Man,
Appreciate you having me.
yes, sir.
Appreciate
So
you
flex on them a little bit, man. Tell them about some previous accomplishments, some things that you feel like you did that, man. So show them tell them some things about yourself.
Okay. So man, I mean, I got 27 doors. I've remodeled over 40 something doors now. Had a pretty good year. Flipped a property and made 100 grand this year.
Sheesh.
So it was a pretty good year. Thank God. Yeah, so I'm in commercial real estate. So the only properties I have is commercial. Commercial real estate is considered 6 units and up. Some people say 5 units and up. So every property I have is 6 units and up, and I have a commercial car lot that I rent out to one of my friends. So yeah, that's my little flex.
So you on the way to some big money, man. Like we trying to get like you around here,
Oh
man.
no, man, yeah.
Man, so let's just go back to your past. Get who you were growing up. So how was life growing up for DJ? Who were you as a kid?
As a kid, I've always been, that laughing person and class clown, and I went through some things, as a kid, getting in trouble, you know what I mean. But overall, my childhood was beautiful, you know what I mean. Thanks to my parents, you know what I mean. They
Mm.
raised me the right way. I did see them grind though. So I was born here in Topeka, Stormont, and we were living at in Highland Park Apartments at the time. My mom and dad were living in Highland Park Apartments at the time, and they got married, and then we moved to where I grew up most of my childhood, Jefferson Square, J Square. So yeah, I grew up there in Jefferson Square, and my childhood was real fun. Real fun. Love my family. So I was into sports. I played basketball,
You was a
football,
hooper, bro. You was a
baseball.
hooper.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So football. Basketball is my favorite sport. But I was better at football and baseball. Karate. So I had a pretty good childhood. Watched my mom grind from nothing. You know what I mean. So it was a beautiful, bittersweet. You know what I mean. And
Mm.
it was a good childhood.
So what did your mom do for a living?
She was working at Blue Cross and Blue Shield at the time.
It's like an
If she
insurance company.
kind of sort of, yeah,
Mm.
yep. She's had a job since she was like 14, 15. She's always
Mm.
been a hustler, you know what I mean? So yeah.
And then your dad, what'd he do?
He was at Fort Riley. My
Mm.
dad was in the Army.
Okay.
So yeah, my dad was a soldier, and he came down here, met my mom, and my dad worked at a plant called Reese's. Then he left Reese's, and he works now at Frito Lay, and he's a lead up at Frito Lay. So he's been at Frito Lay since I was maybe 3 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe 3 years old. Yeah, yeah. So.
Man, so just watching them grind and be successful, did it kind of rub off on you, or like how did that money mindset come about?
Oh
Like,
yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Cause I watched them literally grind from nothing, and um, one thing I learned from them was always you got to go get it. Ain't nobody gonna give it to you, so you got to go get it. And
mm,
my mom and dad, they made me go get it. They gave me stuff. When I was in high school and I messed up, ran away from home. Doing this, hanging with this crowd, breaking in houses. Doing all types of stuff, smoking, drinking. You know,
mm,
so they snatched all that away from me, and that was probably some of one of the best things that ever happened to me. Because from there on, it was pedal to the metal for me. You know
mm,
what I mean? So it was one of those things where it just was it was bittersweet, but the end of it when she took away everything I had, you know what I mean? Once I started doing that, that's really what changed my life and turned a lot of stuff around and made me just grind and go get it. You know
All
what I
right.
mean?
So we got to break all that down. You said a lot in a little bit of time. We got to break that down. So in middle school, you were playing sports,
Yeah,
or when
yep.
did you play sports in high school?
Little bit. I kind of shied away from, you know, playing sports in high school. I did play, but I didn't put forth, I didn't put forth the effort I should have.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So I did play. I should have probably played basketball. You know, my boys was on the basketball team. That's when the great times at Highland Park. They was undefeated, 3 times state. All I had to do was go out for the team, and you know what I mean. If I went out for the team, I'd have had some rings on me right
Man.
now. So
So why do you feel like you didn't take sports as serious in high school?
mm,
Was it the wrong crowd or?
wrong crowd, and it wasn't as competitive, and it wasn't that much support. Not
Mm,
at home, it was support at home. But far as the community, it wasn't that support, at Highland Park for the sports I was playing.
mm,
When I was a kid, I'd travel, you know what I mean, state games, and it just was a different atmosphere.
man. So let's dissect getting into the wrong crowd. Like, tell us a little bit more about that. Tell us a little bit of stories and just how that part of your life affected the future life. So how did you get mixed up in the wrong crowd, and what were some things that you done? I wouldn't necessarily regret, but like you just wish, damn, I shouldn't have been doing that. So like, talk about getting into the wrong crowd.
Whew, I done did a lot as a kid, man, and even as an adult, I did some things. So getting with the wrong crowd was just one of those things. We were curious. It wasn't so much just because everybody that gets involved in the wrong crowd isn't they're not just bad people.
Mm,
So it was one of those things. We're just curious. You know what I mean? And we always wanted to do something different and do something because we were like, oh, we wonder if we do this, will this happen? So it was
mm.
one of those things, man. But you live and you learn, and I still talk to some of those guys. They've changed their life around too, and so regardless of that, everybody's got a past. Everybody, goes through some things. So yeah, man, that's kind of how that wrong crowd thing went. So
Did you ever end up getting arrested or anything in high school or?
oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah, man. I mean,
Man, so what was you doing, man? Tell us the
man,
DJ now and the
the
DJ back
DJ,
then. What were you doing back
man.
then?
I mean, I was, man, doing all type of stuff that was just off the wall, man. Breaking in houses, smoking synthetic marijuana, stuff that I'd have any business doing. You know what I mean? So it was ridiculous. I mean, but it wasn't never nothing that was a crime to where it was.
Sentenced.
Yeah, nothing like that. But I've been in some hanging around the wrong crowds and doing the wrong things. You know what I mean? Stuff I ain't have no business doing.
Mm. And you said your mom had gave you some stuff, and then it ended up getting taken away because you was involved with the wrong crowd.
Oh
What
yeah,
did
oh
she
yeah.
give you that you
Man,
felt?
I had a brand new Eddie Bauer truck, brand new, man. My dad didn't drive it for no time. They gave it to me, man. I had the kicker subs in the trunk, man. I'm talking about pulling up to high school looking good, feeling good,
Sounded good,
sounding good, all that. So, man, I was just cutting up, man, cutting up, and I'm talking about, boy, that was the truck to ride in. All my friends, we hopping in the truck, you know what I'm saying? And
Mm.
my mom had just bought a nice house, and this was the time where, you know what I mean, she's on her stuff too. So, I got to be on my stuff. So, man, she snatched it from me, man.
Yeah.
Snatched it from me.
How'd I
And
feel, man? Like just
ooh,
pulling up, sounding good,
it,
looking
it
good,
hurt.
and
It
then
hurt. It hurt. But I'm talking about, boy, it made me the hustler I am today, baby.
he said, "I'm gonna go get me another one."
Woo! Now on the car lot.
Yes,
You know what I'm
sir.
saying? So, it was tough, but it had to happen. You know what I mean? And it was proper protocol. She wasn't wrong for it. So, you know.
So, how did it feel that week when you got it taken away and then had to go back to school? Everybody like, hey DJ, where your truck at, man?
I don't remember, man. It was so many times. I got put on Front Street from her, but it was, I don't remember the exact, week when I got it taken, but it was just kind of one of those things. One thing it did teach me as well, like it gave me humility, like nothing, it always brought me out of my shell, you know what I mean? Far as if you did wrong, you did wrong. My dad always told me think of the consequences of your actions and stuff like that. So,
Man. So you graduated high school. What did you do after you graduated high school?
When I graduated high school, I went to Allen County Community College. I went to college.
What'd you study there?
Business.
Business.
Studied business.
Businessman right here, man.
For a short period of time.
Did you graduate or?
No, I took a few courses. And I didn't finish through.
So, what was the biggest things you took away from going to college?
The biggest thing I took away from I learned a lot of bookkeeping there.
Like
I learned a lot of bookkeeping.
Taxes, numbers, and stuff, or
not taxes, but just how to file proper paperwork and how to use Excel spreadsheets and stuff like that. So I took some good stuff away from there.
Boom. So, how old are you when you were taking the courses? You went straight to college after high school, or how did that happen?
And I worked at Home Depot, not distribution, Home Depot, the store out there on Wanamaker.
Okay.
Yeah, I worked out there on Wanamaker.
So how many jobs you had before you became your own boss?
Was at Home Depot. I was at McAllister's. I was at Big Lots. I was an umpire. I mean, I had a job since I was 14. I was, I always been, cutting grass. I always been, I come from a background of entrepreneurs, hustlers, and so I've had probably about 7 jobs, maybe.
I'm at 7 jobs. I'm only 18, man. That's not looking too good. But so you got out of high school, went through college. Who were you once you got out of college, and like what were you doing? Explain to the people like how you were working at Home Depot, right? And did you feel like you were maximizing your potential, or like how are you feeling working at Home Depot?
No, I didn't. I always knew I would do something. I always knew I would do something great. I didn't know what it would be, but I always had that. I knew I wasn't maximizing my potential, but I always knew that one day I was going to do something. I sit around and just dream of stuff, and I ain't gonna jump the gun. We're gonna talk about that in a minute, but I sit around and just dream of stuff. So it's like I knew I wasn't reaching my full potential. I just sit around and just think about stuff that I could be doing. You know what I mean? So I knew it wasn't the end for me.
So you mentioned you had got caught up in smoking and stuff, and talk about that, like, and those dark times.
Man, I was misusing, drugs, and I ended up in Osawatomie State Hospital twice, 2 times, not once, twice.
Dang, so let's slow that down a little bit. First time, going through that, doing that stuff, and how was your life looking, and how did you feel, and then just talk about that time. Slow it down a little bit for us.
It was one of those times where I wasn't in my right state of mind, and it was tough. It was tough, man. And I've always been a fighter, so it wasn't nothing I didn't see myself getting through. But it was tough, man, and all you could do was have faith. That's all you could do.
So you went through the state hospital or whatever it's called, and like, what do you feel like made you relapse? Was it environment? Was it just that addictive feeling, or what do you feel like made you go back to the second time?
That's a good question. Probably the addictive, the feeling, and just not being able to, almost getting it right, and then just one of those things that had to happen, and it was just probably the addictive feeling. That's probably what it was.
Man,
good question.
So after you got out the state hospital the second time, who were you, and like, what did you want to become? There's some good questions, huh?
I mean, I was Man, this is deep. When I was in the state hospital, I used to sit in a room and dream of me doing certain things and big things.
Mm.
When I was in the state hospital,
What were some of those dreams? Can you remember them?
driving a convertible car, having concerts. I've always dreamed of that. Throwing big concerts. I mean, I was in the state hospital dreaming of that.
Mm.
My mindset has always been, regardless of what position I'm in,
Thinking big.
yeah. So I was dreaming of that. That's what I was thinking.
Mm.
You know what I mean. So
So when you got out, what did you do?
when I got out, took off. I mean, I flat out took off after that.
Mm.
I took off. I was at Goodyear, and after that, I took off.
How long did you work at Goodyear?
4.5, 5 years.
Mm.
Four
And
and a
then,
half, 5 years.
so going through that four to 5 years, people my age, we think 4 to 5 years is a long time, and we like, for me personally, I'm like, I don't want to work at this certain spot for 4 to 5 years because I feel like it's wasting my time. But talk about how that helped you take that next step.
Ooh, that helped me in a lot of ways. I was actually able to save a lot of money. There I was actually able to just get my plan together. You know what I mean? I was working nights, and it just helped me build the character, the confidence. To be able to go do different things.
Mm.
And that's kind of when I was there. I started transitioning into the real estate field while I was there.
Mm.
So while I was there, I was accumulating properties. I was accumulating already while I was there. My
Mm.
first house that I just sold this year and made 100 grand. That's when I bought that house. That when I was
At
at
Goodyear.
Goodyear.
Mm.
And I got it for 30 grand. So I'm holding on to it.
Mm.
So I'm sitting there accumulating and learning, and I'm getting ready for the takeoff. I already got 4 or 5 properties while I'm at Goodyear.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
That's
Before
good.
I even left.
All right, man. You move too fast. So talk about that purchasing that first property. How did you get your foot in the door in real estate?
My first property, man, I bought it. It was on faith and a wing and a prayer.
Mm.
I just knew it was the deal. I just knew it.
Where'd you find the deal? How did you know? Like, how did you
I
go
was
through the
on.
process to close it? Slow
Hmm.
down, man. Tell us,
Hmm.
give us the game, man. You try
I
to
mean,
give
I
us the
mean,
game.
it's that one. I don't. How did I get that one? That one was on. I got that one on an auction.
Mm.
That was on an auction, and uh, I was bidding against a couple people, and I ended up winning the auction. I bought it unsight unseen.
Mm.
I didn't know what was wrong with it, nothing, and it's funny because um, why I knew. Do you know why I knew that was the house?
Nah. Well, how you knew?
It was in the area where I grew up at,
Mm.
a couple blocks away. My aunt owns, half of that. My aunt and my family own half of that street as it is. Clear up the block. So the house was right there, and I had faith. I was like, man, this is the house. I
Mm.
didn't even see it. And I remember my mom telling me, she was like, okay, DJ, but you need to go look through it. Before you buy the house, you need to look at it. And I was like, no, mom, I just, so and she was being a parent, of course, you need to look at it, which I should have.
Mm.
Man, I just lucked up. That's how I just lucked up. It was God, man.
Man, so you said you made like 100,000 on that thing. How you do that? Like, how long it take you to renovate it and get your team in there, and then the part where you sold it? How did all that happen?
Um, so that one was a rental at first.
Mm.
So that one, well, no, that was the first house I purchased for myself. I take that back, and I lived in it.
Mm.
So it was the first rental, but I lived in it before I rented it. So I didn't really do a lot of renovating.
Mm.
Went there, put carpet in, put AC in, HVAC, everything. The bones was good. I mean, this was the biggest deal I have probably still got in real estate. And uh, I ended up renting it out after I moved out of it. So I didn't really renovate it
Mm.
until I went to sell it this year. You know what I mean? So then I went in there and renovated it, and I put about 20 grand in it. I probably made more than 100 grand. I did make more than 100 G's. And the reason why is because I rented it out for 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Rented it out for 3 years. Then after I rented it out, then the market just got hot. Market got hot. Stuff was selling left and right.
Mm-hmm.
So I have my multifamily properties, and I was just letting the smaller stuff go, and keeping my bigger stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So that was on the chopping block, and I went to look, and I was like, man, I seen the numbers, once I seen what stuff was selling for. So then I had my guys come in there, renovate it, put about 20 G's in it, floors, walls, new cabinets, new lighting. And shoot, I had my realtor, which is a good friend of mine, was my old football coach when I was a kid.
Oh, that's nice.
So he's been my realtor, family realtor, you know what I mean? And he came in and did his walkthrough. Name's BJ McGivern. Hey, shout out BJ. Shout out my guy BJ McGivern, man. He's been a real big help, not just in the real estate field, a lot of different things, he's been helping me with. And he came in, did the walkthrough, we put it up for sale. Man, that Joker sold in 4 days.
4 days?
You hear me? It sold in 4 days.
100,000, wow.
4 days.
That's crazy.
Sold.
After being posted.
Yeah. We was in contract after 4 days.
That's crazy, man.
100,000.
Whew. That's a lot of money.
Yeah, I know, because I got to pay taxes on it.
Man.
I got to pay taxes on it this
Man,
year. So.
Uncle Sam, man, you gotta chill out.
Yeah.
Give us a little break around here.
Man.
Boom. So you was talking about concerts and stuff. Most people don't know, man, but tell them the concerts you put on, man.
Oh, I brought my first concert. I brought Boosie. I brought Lil Boosie with the help of my mom. Shout out Dare to Dream event management with the help of my mom, and I brought Lil Boosie. Yeah, so my mom helped me manage that whole thing. My boys too. Shout out all my boys, man. They helped me promote it. My boy Chris, my boy Bubba, Cannon, Brandon, Steven, my cousin Donnell. He's not with us no more. He passed. But man, we brought Lil Boosie to the expo.
How y'all get in contact with Lil Boosie to get him down here, man?
Man, I had my boy Steven. He code with them computers, man, and I remember me, Steven, and my boy Bubba, man, we was on the phone, and we was like, man, it's time, man, because we was throwing parties for the longest. We've been throwing parties for a minute, and we was throwing parties, man, packing them out. Everything we do packed.
Bro had a mini truth around here.
I'm talking about packed. So I'm like, man, you know what? Let's bring Boosie. My boy Bubba like, what? My boy Bubba, he's hilarious. He like, what? So my boy Bubba, we talking, and then we call Steven, and I have my boy Steven, I have him reach out to their people. We trying to figure out the number. We ended up finding the number. I can't give him that sauce though. So we ended up finding the number. Man, and we got a hold of somebody that knew him, and we got with him, and then, man, we locked it in, man, and we pulled it off. It was packed, man. It was packed. So that was a big highlight of my life, man.
So you was like the event manager, and you coordinated all the tickets and stuff and made the profits? Me and
my mom did most of it. My mom did most of it, and I did most of the leg work though. The leg work as far as hustling, getting out there, selling the tickets, and my mom did a lot of, probably about 80-90% of the background stuff, you know what I mean, as far as orchestrating and stuff like that.
Man, so how much it cost to rent out the Expo Center back then? I know they probably done upped the price if they didn't renovate that thing.
I know they raised them now. Then that was 2019 or 2018. 2019. That was I think we ended up paying, I know the concert was $45,000 altogether. I think was it about $5,000 maybe?
To rent it out?
I think it was like $5,000-$6,000 because they upped us on security and everything, man. It was crazy, man. It was ridiculous, man. They made us get double security, so that price went up. I think it was like, Eugene, I want to say about $5,000 to $7,000 maybe.
They probably done triple that. They done
renovated
it.
Probably not. They would just, You know, we haven't had a hip hop concert like that in a long time from when I brought Boosie. But there was a lot of stuff that happened back in the day, you know what I mean, that they did, but it hadn't happened on that level in a long time. You know what I mean? So
Man,
they were just kind of panicking, but it was good, man. We didn't have no fights, no. We had one little altercation, but good, clean fun, man. Everybody had fun. You know what I mean? So
man. So you got your first property, you secured that one. Talk about streamlining and getting all these properties. You said you got what, 27, right?
27 doors. I don't
27
have
doors.
27 properties. I got 27 doors.
Okay, I mean, hey, that's a lot. So talk about
26, 27.
getting
somewhere.
that first door and how you streamline the process to getting more.
You got to know when to buy, know when to sell.
Mm,
Know what to buy, know what to sell. Um, so my thing is, um, it buy low, sell high. How I streamlined it though, Eugene, was how can I put this? I was buying I was buying all the stuff that people didn't want.
mm,
I was buying the stuff and people was looking at me crazy about why am I buying it. That's how I streamlined mine.
mm.
So I bought all the stuff that didn't nobody want. That was just dirt and mud. Because
You
I
went
had
and
a
cleaned it
vision.
up.
I had a vision. Then look up, I cleaned it up. And, you know, it's but how I streamlined it was I just bought stuff that was mud because it was harder for me to get the properties that were, you know, on this side of town at this, you know, and they cost this much. So I'm like, okay, well, cool. I see my lane. I'm gonna get the stuff cheap.
Mm,
I got the guys that can come in and do it. So I'm gonna just get the stuff this. I'm gonna get the stuff this cheap. I'm gonna go where don't nobody want to go. You
mm.
know,
And build it up.
and build it up. I'm gonna streamline it that way. You know what I mean? So
Oh, that makes sense.
I just had it to where I kept my workers on a project. That's how I streamline mine. I'm going to get the most skilled workers for the best price, you know, on my budget, not the big company's budget and everybody else's budget.
Mm,
And then I'm gonna keep properties. I'm gonna keep properties for them to keep working on.
mm,
Simple.
mm. So how'd you get your first multi-unit property? Like, talk about that. And how did
Man,
you know, like, going from houses to multi-unit, how did you know that was the move?
I had a vision before it was even popular. I mean, you know, and a lot of my stuff is I'm not the smartest. I'm smart enough, but a lot of my stuff has been off of vision.
Mm,
So I'm driving, I'm driving looking for properties. I'm driving down, I'm driving down, down Tyler. This is 10th and Tyler.
mm,
So I'm driving. I look to the left, and I see a multifamily property. I don't even know what it is, a 4 unit, a 5 unit, whatever. It's a 6 unit though,
mm,
which is commercial. I see it for sale. I immediately call BJ, my realtor. I call him, and I'm like, hey, I want this property. And the reason why I jumped over that because I already knew that eventually it was simple math.
mm,
I'm trying to go after one or two properties when there's guys that got 10, 15 properties on one piece of land.
mm,
They're cutting down management. They're cutting out, you know, having all those tax bills, all that stuff. So I already knew then. I was like, okay, I'm going to multifamily.
mm,
I didn't have no business plan. I didn't have none of that. I just had a vision.
mm.
So now I'm in multifamily, and I don't even know how I got there. So once I bought it, I ended up buying it, Eugene. I bought my first multifamily property for 40,000.
Sheesh. How much you put into it?
It was two and some change,
Mm.
two and some change,
So
two
what's
and some change somewhere in there, maybe low twos.
your plan is to rent that one out until you get your investment back, or what are you doing with that one?
I was at first I was gonna flip it.
Mm,
At first I was like I'm gonna flip it, and that didn't work out. And the reason why is because I didn't wanna take a certain price, which I'm glad I didn't sell it. So that was my first plan was to flip it, and I didn't flip it, so I ended up renting it out.
mm,
You know, and it's worth 400,000 now.
mm. You do
Yeah,
the math.
yeah, you do
Y'all
the
do the
math.
math.
Add it up. Add it up. These are real numbers. One thing I'm telling you, real numbers. These are real numbers. That property appraised for $400,000 this year.
And what was the offer that you got on it?
Oh, I've had people offer me 300,000, 325,000. You know,
You just talk about them numbers like they just little numbers.
no, just
He want
no,
the millions.
yeah. I mean, so I mean, I had people offer me that, and a lot of that stuff comes from just I just started learning, and a lot of people aren't gonna believe in your vision. What you see, I'm not gonna see. What I see, you're not gonna see. Sometimes we might see the same things, but so I just had a vision. I stuck with it. I kept my foot to the plow, and that's how it happened, man.
So how did you know not to take those offers? You just was like, nah, that ain't enough money, or how, you felt like it was enough money, but you had a bigger vision, or
Yeah, I knew it wasn't enough money. Then I had another guy in my ear, and he's a stickler too. He's a real stickler. He'd probably be mad if I say his name, but I got to, and I appreciate him. Uh, uh, Mr. Hicks. Mr. Hicks was in my ear, like, man, no, that ain't enough money, So he helps me on some real estate deals too and stuff, So I had had him in my ear, and I knew, you know what I mean, because I'm one of those guys where I like to see if I can, So yeah, man. But
so did you have any mentors in real estate, or how'd you have all this knowledge to move so quick?
um, I always so my family has been in the real estate. I never really learned the ins and outs from them, but I watched them, and I had a lot of other different people, that came across my life, that I've learned from and watched, and I invested in myself. I've took different courses, you know what I mean. I work with some people around here. I'm always looking to get information, so anybody I can get information from, I'll take it, run with it, and I'll go dissect it to see if it's the proper information. So it's one of those things, and I watch a lot of videos, just hours of reading. I've done a lot of reading, you know what I mean. So that's kind of how I got in the real estate game.
So just having that, just that want and that grind, you turn that addictive property into something else. You turned it into wanting more money instead of smoking. Like, how do you? I don't know what I want to say. Got stuck on the question there. Dang. All right, talk about your property you just acquired.
Uh,
The multifamily,
the eight unit. Yeah,
over there.
I just acquired it, and uh, I put 30 grand down on it, and it was I bought it for 165, which was a really good deal. So I put 20% down on it, and when I put 20% down on it, I basically got it appraised. It appraised at 400, well 380 to be exact. And fix up cost, putting about 65 grand in it, so I'm gonna be about 240 in it, 230 somewhere in there, and it's worth 380.
So you do the math.
Yeah. So what on this deal, I approached this differently. What I did was I leveraged the bank's money to acquire more equity, because a lot of people and a lot of things, like when and this is kind of off subject, but like, and this is a gym right here. This is a gym. So like, a lot of people look at it like they're scared to get in debt. Well, what it is this is the thing, Eugene. A lot of people in our culture, where we come from, and not just our culture, but a lot of people that are young, our age, they don't understand, and some people older, it's financial literacy. I don't care if I'm going to borrow 130 grand, if I go borrow $130,000 and the property's worth 380. What's 240? What's 240 minus 380? It's 140,000. That's the profit.
Yeah.
If I sell it, that's the profit. So a lot of people are not understanding financial literacy. So with this property, Only reason I did leverage the money, how I acquired it, was because I seen all the equity in it.
Mm.
So that's how I acquired that one. I leveraged that one, and we're about done remodeling that now.
Man, talk about
So
that turnaround time, man. And how long you been? You tell them you closed at what 9:30. You had your team in there at what 10:30, getting busy.
you seen it. You seen it. I mean, I don't I don't play any games when it comes to business. So my thing is, if I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it well.
Mm.
So soon as we close, not even soon as we close, let me take you back. Once I had the deal locked in,
Mm.
I had my whole plan together on how I was gonna finish this property.
Mm.
So as soon as I close, my construction team needs to be there waiting on me when I come bring the keys to open the door.
That's real business right there.
So that turnaround time on all them units that we had to remodel, that turnaround time is 3 weeks.
That's
3
crazy.
weeks. We did tile, we did plank flooring, new appliances, new drywall, new wood, new trim. 3 weeks.
Painted the whole outside. Well, you got some new concrete coming
New
in
concrete out there, painted it.
in 3 weeks.
3 weeks, man. 3 weeks. It don't take long. You got to be prepared. So we were prepared on this one. This was probably the most efficient, um, the efficient job we've done. Some of them. It took me a second to get to this though. It wasn't just like it happened overnight. I've messed up. I've had the city put stop work orders on some of my projects, and
Mm.
so
Yeah.
this one right here was efficient.
Let's get into that, man. Like some of the biggest losses you took in real estate, because everybody hear about the wins, but tell us about some of the biggest losses. Some of the what'd you say? Stop what?
Stop work orders.
Yeah, tell us about some of those things. Like
I've had some stop work orders on some of my properties. I've had
what is a stop work order? Like you just
if you don't do something properly, like if you don't
oh,
pull the proper permits,
mm.
if you don't do stuff in order, they'll stop work on your stuff. So
And how'd you have to get around that? How'd you go about like tell us what exactly the stop work order was on and like
so I was doing some plumbing work,
mm.
and I had somebody doing it that didn't have a license.
Oh.
And this was the first house I flipped that I bought just to flip,
Mm.
and I had somebody doing some plumbing work, and that was against city violations. So once they seen that, they came to the house, put a sticker on the door, and then I had to have a licensed plumber come in and finish it out.
Mm.
So yeah, that's how that works. Stop work order.
Is that the only one you had on your houses or
Oh no, I had some before that. On what did I have that on? I think I had it on electrical.
mm.
Electrical, because it's a fine line between what you got to do, but you just got to know the rules. Some of them, if you're a homeowner, you can do it. I mean, but you just got to know the ins and outs. So I've had it happen a couple times.
So what's some losses financially in real estate? It was like
Oh,
some
I've
big
lost on
losses.
some properties that I didn't finish. Maybe I'm losing a lot now,
Mm.
but no, I've lost on a couple properties. And one thing about it though, I lost probably about 15, 20,000. But one thing about it, I see, Eugene, with the losses and anything you're doing, it's never a loss. You
It's a
know what it is?
lesson.
It's a lesson.
Man,
So
I don't
I
think I
don't
ever took
never
a
look
loss
at
in my life.
yeah, I don't look at them as losses. So it just showed me what not to do in the next deal. Let's keep stepping.
So talk about that. What made you lose money and how did you lose money on those deals?
So what I did was I put too much money in it,
Mm.
and when I went to sell it, it wasn't complete. And when I went to sell it, it was just like I didn't budget. I didn't budget the money right.
Mm.
I didn't budget. I was just going off of, oh, I'm looking at it from if I'm going to live here, or am I going to, keep this property for 20 years and give it to my son or my dog, and it looking at it like that, I looked at it the wrong way. I had the wrong approach. You know what I
Mm.
mean? Trying to make it
Too
look.
much money into
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
All right, that makes sense. So what's some of your goals for this year?
This year, I'm pushing myself to the limit this year. I got some goals. I got a lot of goals in real estate, but my goals, I want to have over 50 doors.
By the end of the year?
Yeah, yeah. Not want to, going to have over 50 doors
Mhm.
by the end of the year. I want to get get to where I've got all my stuff on autopilot. We just actually hired a secretary in to actually run some of our stuff and help us, put our stuff on autopilot, get more organized. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Um, just stuff like that, and just learning. I want to keep learning. I know there's a lot of stuff that I don't know. That not a lot of stuff. But there's stuff that I need to learn. So I want to learn and keep getting knowledge, and I want to start going to connect. I got a couple of guys out of town that's waiting on me to come see them. As far as a couple gurus. You know what I mean? Just waiting for me to come out there and meet with them. I'm gonna go out of town and start meeting with some guys. And just spreading the brand and going to learn some knowledge from some guys that know more than me. So that's a goal
Mm.
too. So I've got a lot of goals that I'm going to knock down this year. And I say that confidently. When I say I'm going to, it's just one of those things that I've been taught from my mentor to. You gotta say you are going to do so. You're going to do it. So
Just a psychological thing. It
yeah,
just flips that switch in your brain. If you
yeah,
if you
yeah.
feel like you're not, then you're not. If you
Then
feel
you're
like
not.
you are,
You are.
you are. So talk about the discipline and sacrifices you had to have and make to get here to this point. Like, what do you feel like you had to sacrifice to get to this point in life?
I mean, I could go down the list.
Go down the list, man.
I could go down the list from uh, giving up smoking, giving up, I still drink here and there, occasionally, but giving up drinking, hanging out with the wrong crowd, working 60-hour work weeks,
Mm.
and a lot of people think I don't work, but I'm working. I'm going to grab material, making sure the crew stays going. I'm sitting there telling them what the next step is. I'm hiring people, I'm firing people, I'm driving here, I'm driving there, I'm dealing with tenants, you know what I mean? So, um, I had to give up. Certain eating habits. At one point I got up to 275 pounds,
Mm.
281 pounds. Now I'm down to 240. You know what I mean? I had to give up, and that's just so I can stay active and I can be, I can stay up. You know what I mean? Because at one point I just couldn't stay up, so I had to change my eating habits. You know what I mean? I had to um, just work harder. I had to study more stuff. I had to learn more things. So I mean, it's a sacrifice, man. I mean,
Mm.
and it's multiple sacrifices I had to give. I had to give up. You know what I mean? And still being a father at the same time. So it's a long list of sacrifices. You know what I mean? How I deal with people.
Mm.
You can't just go talking to tenants crazy and talking to people off the wall. And you got to be respectful, be responsible. You can't just so it's a lot of stuff I had to give up, man, and it truly paid off though, so
So sacrificing all those things, how did you have the discipline to do it? Like
um
knowing you had to sacrifice and knowing you probably didn't want to, how did you have that discipline and how did you develop that discipline to actually do it?
whew, um well, it starts probably, to be honest, it starts with who I position myself around to learn from.
Mm.
Well, my father too, he was always he's military, so he was always disciplined, you know what I mean? So I always had that, kind of in me, but far as on the next level, of discipline, I had a great mentor. I still have a great mentor, Dr. Ruben West. He helped me with a lot of things. He was my karate instructor as a kid. I just got back in karate, so karate, he's my instructor. That helped me. Um, Prayer, you know what I mean. God, you know what I mean, helped me. Um, just keeping my eyes on the prize and just knowing that it gets greater later, you know what I mean,
Mm-hmm.
from the situation that I had, with the drug use and stuff. That helped me, you know what I mean. So it's a lot of things that help me, the people I'm around, the sacrifices I made, the past situations that I've been through, help me, just acquire that discipline. Because that's all it is, man. It's discipline. It's not nothing. I'm not doing anything the next man can't do and the next person can't do. There's people that's doing 10 times, 100 times, 1,000 times more than I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
And the only thing that they're doing better than me is discipline. So the discipline, that's a good point, is key. And that's just how I discipline myself though.
Mm. So you did just give a lot of gems right there, but if you could leave the younger generation, because that's who I feel like I'm geared towards and
Hmm.
more of being able to help and give them some type of guidance while I'm seeking it for myself,
Hmm.
give them a few things that will help them reach the level of success you have reached.
Don't listen to anybody that doesn't have your vision. And if you got a vision, stick with it. I don't care if it's your brother, if it's your cousin, if it's your mom, your dad. I don't care. Do
Mm-hmm.
what you need to do. Do what you need to do. Stick to what you know. Stick to what you think is gonna get you to the next level. Don't second guess yourself. You know what I mean? Stay disciplined, stay reading. Don't don't hang around the wrong crowd. Just because everybody else is doing it, it's cool to be different. It's cool to be different. So be different. Get around people that are like minded. Get you a good mentor. People don't think that that's key. I'm not saying come work with me. You know what I mean? I'm not. That's not what I'm saying. Get a good mentor. I've had mentors. I mean, and if I went down the number of mentors I've had through my life, you know what I mean? I'd have to name a list of people off. So get a good mentor, get a good coach, get around the right people. You know what I mean? And that's what I would do. I would say 9 times out of 10, it is being around the right people.
Mm-hmm. Networking
Network,
can take you to a lot
network,
of places.
exactly. Get around people like yourself. You doing your thing out here. You know what I mean, and you grinding, and you a good example. They need to get around people like you.
I don't want people around me if they
Yeah,
ain't trying to be like me,
yeah,
man.
yeah.
Like,
But
and
seriously though, seriously, man. You out here doing your thing, man. Shout out to I Am Great podcast, man, for having me.
man,
I
thank you for coming on the
appreciate that,
show.
man. I appreciate that.